Let's talk about taking responsibility for your overwhelm. When we're overwhelmed, it's really easy to blame somebody else or something else. A situation. It's easy to blame the situation on our surroundings, a job, another person like a boss or the mother-in-law, whatever it is. It's really easy to blame the overwhelm on somebody or something else. But, and this goes for every walk of life, not just overwhelm, if there's something happening and you don't like the outcome you're getting, you need to take total and utter absolute responsibility, because we often can't change the event, but we can always change our response to the event. When you change your response, you change the outcome you get. So you can always take responsibility. Even if you're not ready to take 100% responsibility, what would life look like if you took 5% more responsibility in that area? So I'm going to give you 3 ways you can take more responsibility that will help to improve any overwhelm in your life. So number 1, stop blaming other people. If your boss is a dick, don't blame him for hating your job or the overwhelm at work. You're in that job because you choose to be there. Yeah, maybe it's not easy to get another job at the moment, but are you really putting 100% into finding another job? So stop blaming other people. If it's a co-worker, stop blaming them. How can you take more responsibility? Not even 100% responsibility, but more responsibility. If it's your mother-in-law, can you do something to take more responsibility there and stop blaming her for interfering in your marriage or whatever it is? So stop blaming other people. If you find yourself blaming somebody else, have a think about how you can take even a little bit more responsibility. So and I'll give you an example of that as well. So we'll stick with the mother-in-law example. If you have got a mother-in-law who interferes all of the time, always telling you how to parent your kids, always telling your husband what he should or shouldn't be doing, something like that, chances are you're going to get worked up. Maybe you know she's coming around and you're going to be worked up, and you've just got your back up before she even walks through the door. She senses that energy, that makes you worse, and that energy just feeds off itself. What about if you just let bygones be bygones, or presumed she was there without an agenda this time? It doesn't matter whether it's true, it matters whether it's helpful. So let's just assume she's there without an agenda this time when she turns up. And because you've let go of any tension that you've got before she even walks through the door, she's going to sense that, and everything is just a much calmer situation rather than you sort of winding each other up. So number 1, to take more responsibility, stop blaming other people. Number 2, learn from your mistakes. If you think all men are bastards, whatever it is, do you actually choose the wrong men? Chances are you do. Chances are you're going with what you know, or with what you're attracted to. We hear women talk all the time about being attracted to the bad boys. So learn by your mistakes. If you're always skinned, you know it's because you're spending too much money on things that you don't need to spend on most of the time. Or maybe you need to look for a different job or a second job, but you know you will be making mistakes. So learn from them. What can you do differently? What mistakes have you made in the past that you keep repeating? And what can you do differently? What can you learn from those past mistakes? Number 3 is recognize the unhelpful thoughts. So I talked about beliefs in a video I've just done, and we have beliefs that we've got to do things a certain way, and I talked about if we're thinking I should do that, the chances are it's a belief. So start to recognize those unhelpful thoughts. If you're telling yourself, I can't do that, I can't ask for help, it'll make me look silly, it'll make me look incompetent, whatever. If you're thinking unhelpful thoughts, recognize them, and what can you tell yourself differently? If you're always telling yourself I can't, so for example, I worked with a lady who wanted to get another job. She thought she was ready for promotion. She really liked the idea of promotion. Her boss thought she would be good at the next level, but she never applied for the job because she thought she wasn't very good with computers. So because the job itself came with more responsibility and she had to do more more tasks on the computer, she didn't apply for it because she kept telling herself, I can't do that. I can't work with computers. I can't learn to use computers. I'll never be any good with computers. She just believed, it was a self-limiting belief, she just believed she would never be any good with computers. So next time you hear yourself saying, I can't, turn it into, how can I? Turn it into a question. How can I? How can I get better at using computers? We all have unhelpful thoughts. If you're telling yourself, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm fed up, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, that just feeds into the stress and the overwhelm you're feeding. Ask yourself better questions. I think it was Tony Robbins said, life's determined, the quality of our life is determined by the questions we ask. How can I stop feeling so overwhelmed? Take time out, stop, think about it, ask yourself better questions. If you're overwhelmed, you need to stop, you need to breathe, you need to take time out, you need to reset the stress hormones, and you'll be more productive afterwards. So recognize those unhelpful thoughts. So I've given you 3 ways that you can take more responsibility, and you will always be able to take more responsibility. If you're thinking, I do take responsibility, then you've got a massive block there and it's something you need to work on. So 3 ways you can take responsibility. Number 1, stop blaming others. Number 2, learn from your mistakes. Number 3, recognize the unhelpful thoughts. If overwhelm is a problem for you, you'd benefit from my overwhelm checklist. It gives you the 9 key areas that feed into the overwhelm and what to do about each of those 9 areas. So you can download that at www.overwhelmchecklist.com. If you've got any questions about overwhelm, drop me a DM or leave a comment, and I'll either give you a quick response to your question or I'll record a video for you. But that overwhelm checklist, if you haven't already got it, you can get that at www.overwhelmchecklist.com. Thanks. Bye.